Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a number of viewer questions. I've been receiving a lot of questions as of recent as to how do you heal from a female psychopath? How do you heal and move through it? And so, healing is a great concept. I would say moving through and learning from the relationship is crucial, and then making sure that you're able to remain open to future relationships and not just putting up a wall, a barrier because of the hurt that can be ensued, that can ensue after a relationship with these types of individuals, or that appear to be individual people, but really what's lurking underneath is really not very humane, kind, considerate, compassionate, and even sort of feminine. They're very destructive, hurtful people who will basically leave you high and dry and then dangling from a cliff. Very treacherous, very scary, and actually very hazardous. But before we get started, I just want to give a super huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated to the channel. It's great to hear from you. Thank you so much for your support. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to set forth on these topics and contents. And absolutely positively, if you would like to participate in the channel, please do feel free to make your contribution at the PayPal Donate Now button, which is here on the About page as well as embedded in the video on top here. So thank you so much. It's great to hear from you. And let's really kind of get started and understand a little bit more about the female psychopath. These individuals beguile and bewitch. They deceive and have a duplicitous nature. They are wanting to really sort of coax and I would say more so seduce, and just sort of like kind of a stun gun, just kind of render their targets just sort of numbed and transfixed on them. They have an ability to be very sort of charismatic, very sort of engulfing. And a viewer made a comment that, even kind people can be charismatic. And that is true. Absolutely positively. Good, kind, really intelligent, elevated and enlightened leaders can be extremely charismatic, warm, sort of inviting, and very approachable. But there's a really distinct difference between a humane leader who is charismatic, who is warm, who's approachable, intelligent. These people, even though they might be wiser, hold positions of power, or be leaders in a company, or, perhaps be a parent or an older sibling who is wise and is supportive, there's a different feeling. There's a different vibe. It's very important for you to distinguish, because the female psychopath, they're not just approachable, they are magnetic, meaning there's something in their gaze, there's something in their energy etheric field which emits from their essence, which is very much sort of like a stare at me, bask in my energy sort of feeling, where they sort of entrap. There's an energy that emits. It's well known that there's an etheric field, an energy that emits from the human body. If you want to get a feel for this, take about 10 minutes and sit in any, busy thoroughfare, be it a mall, a train station, hospital, your job, and just watch the foot traffic for about 10 minutes. And do this with the intention of observing other people's energy. And see if you can kind of observe and sort of, I don't want to say categorize, but that might be a good word. In other words, see whose people energy, which is either very touching to you, very attractive, very approachable, very low energy, meaning people who are depressed, high energy, people who are inspired and creative and driven. And then see if you can kind of distinguish between those people who are kind of sly, manipulative, those people who are kind of very planning and calculating. So The thing is with a psychopath, you have to understand that their manipulation is very deliberate and calculated. So they have a vision of how they're going to take down, the individuals with whom they are targeting. It's very important because there's a very deliberate, calculated, purposeful, and deliberate action with which they will position themselves, the way they will display themselves. So they are really truly posers, meaning that they will be, just sort of presenting a public image or persona. And yes, somebody who might have, let's say they're doing a presentation and they're presenting, they have a certain role, they have a certain objective to relay information. But then it's allowed for people to take on as they will. And there's this sort of, not a pressure of engulfing or deliberate manipulation or duplicitous nature, which means the problem with the female psychopath is that they're hiding and concealing their true intention. They seem very powerful, very seductive. People get swept up. Men get sucked in like a vacuum. There's this feeling that they sort of transform and transfix your life right away. And they will really sort of coax people in the way that they have you sort of observing them. In other words, watching them, whether they're swinging their hair, the way they're moving in a room. It's very deliberate and calculated. So they're not just showing you something. They might not just be showing you, their phone. They're kind of like, using like a lot of their wrists and, exposing like their neck. They're doing this sort of like, look at my phone, and then they're like, opening up their neck, or like using, a lot of this wrist sort of vulnerability. There's a body language, that tends to be very sly. They'll make a lot of, sort of using of negative space of their body a lot, where you're just kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And, yes, I do work with stones when I talk to people and pull information. So if you see me carrying these, this is a black tourmaline, and this is very good energy for extracting the negative out of the environment or out of your aura. So when we're talking about people's energy, we're talking about your aura, and see if you can notice this. This is a crystal quartz, very good for radiating energy and sort of bringing forth pure information. And then, of course, the rose quartz that I work with, which really is about unconditional love. I do other stones. This is not a stone video, but this is a green quartz, which is very good for personal growth. And so anyway, there's like a shadow to their being. There's very much something underneath the surface, and which is beguiling and bewitching. In other words, they're playing you. They're getting you hyper aroused to the point where it's like, here's my, here's the key to my car. Here's the key to my condo. Your values might slip. They are very engaged in a lot of high risk behavior. In other words, just sort of violating of natural societal norms, but, with their feminine way. Sometimes they don't get detected as, a men would. They are able to explain their way out of things. It is a purposeful sort of drawing attention to themselves, but they will not give the same attraction to you. So even though they might hyper arouse, do things which get you, really, completely seething with lust or being enamored. There's no one else like this who's ever loved me before. I've never felt this way before. This is, OMG, this woman is so ... So it's really like over your head, engulfed, quote unquote, in love. But what they're doing is their beguiling and duplicitous nature is just sucking you up. It's a very sort of consuming energy. They consume people, in my viewpoint. They consume attention. They consume people's energy. They hyper arouse, where people are like, texting, and they just want to make more plans with this person, and they're where it's at, and everybody else just doesn't seem so exciting. So there's this very sort of thing, feeling that like they're so exciting, they're so, gorgeous, they seem to be all this. They seem to get all the clients, get all the attention, just have this, incredible track record. They, might be flying or traveling or have modeling and acting and all this other whatever. Have these friends, who travel to all these, seedy destinations. And so when we really talk about healing from it, it's to understand really, especially the cause that's created this heartbreak. It's to understand that you were targeted, and that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with becoming unaddicted to this person. A lot of people are helplessly addicted to this destructive and this consuming nature. They want to be consumed by their infatuation in what has now become an obsession. They are like stalking this person night and day. They're looking at their picture. They're wondering where they are. They can't focus on their work. They're like, have this sort of titillating nature where they're just sort of, having, almost like a seizure. They get so excited around them. So, but then the positive, drops down, and then you find out that they are not who they say they are. You find out that they've just, done something horrific to you, cheated on you, betrayed on you, created a smear campaign. They're trying to ruin you at your job. They're doing strange things to your car. They might be keying your car, busting up your belongings, saying cruel things, and then you keep going back for more. The problem is when you keep going back and you keep the ruminating thoughts about this individual, because you're putting them on this huge pedestal. You're believing the fantasy and the illusion. And a lot of men or women who are in perhaps homosexual relationships with these people, there's a lot of that going on as well. They can be homosexual or heterosexual or bisexual or whatever. So, this goes out to anyone who's really encountered this. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. But you have to understand that you've given, in the love bombing stage, you've identified and given a label or a meaning, a title to this person, which is they are, the one. They are the one who I will always love. They're my soulmate. They're the perfect. They're the best. They're the only one for me. There's this meaning, I feel, that people attached to the over-idealization of this individual. They're giving so much importance to this person that they cannot extract themselves and see the big picture. They are completely glued to the hips. They're glued with their eyes. They cannot extract and pull themselves away. There is something so vacuous about their energy. And you have to understand, you have to ask yourself, was there a vulnerability or need that I originally entered into the relationship with? And what is that? Was I lonely? Was I looking for a partner? Was I looking for a business partner? Was I looking for someone to complete me, make me whole, be the new mother to my children, be the new nurturer to my broken heart from previous broken relationships? Was I on a rebound? Was I looking for a surrogate mother? Was I looking for, a leader, a business leader? Whatever it was, you have to ask yourself, what was my vulnerability before this relationship started? And be rigorously honest. Looking for someone to cook for me, looking for someone I could cook for, looking for someone who could drive me around, looking for someone I could drive around, someone to take on trips, someone to stay at my house, whatever it was, identify the need and the vulnerability that got you seduced, sucked into this vacuous nature. And it's very important that you understand the degree and the strength of this energy and how important it is for you to leave that behind and let that go and not be attracted, but to be detracted from this. You know, you've had so much traction in your heart going in that direction. You need to kind of like mentally erase those tracks. Do, a mental scramble where you see all the traction, all the many times that you had gone in their direction, and begin to erase it like a pencil eraser, or like traction in a snow that has now been snowed over and it's so deep with snow you cannot go back. You can use mental images such as this to help you bring your energy and come back into yourself and begin to become drawn to and attracted to actually what you should. And to also realize that there's a powerful lesson learned in this relationship. That I have a weakness, I have a vulnerability, I have a need, I have a subconscious attraction to, and you need to list that out for yourself and begin to realize that this is a weakness, a sore spot, a trigger point, a something, an inferiority complex, a need for family, a need for love that has caused this whole, ball of wax, ball of sagebrush, to keep me bouncing around in that direction. I need to withdraw, like pulling the reins back on a horse. If you've ever ridden a horse and it's eating grass and you're like, we gotta go, horsey. You gotta yank those reins up, get its head out of the grass and get it going back on its path. You have to pull the reins in on yourself energetically and emotionally to get you to stop eating from them. Eating from them visually, eating from them in your heart, eating from them in your ears, your senses, all of your senses that have been engulfed and enslaved. You need to get a realistic and actual degraded image of this person. They are not good for you if they've caused you to waste a lot of time. Heartbreak. They were not loyal to you. You need to get this down on paper so you can see it looking back at you. And even despite the logic, it might be very difficult to heal. Using this erasing technique, writing down, how did I idealize? And write this down. And what lessons have I learned from this? And write that down. I have a weak spot for this. I have a weak spot for brunettes. I have a weak spot for whatever, big women, skinny women, whatever your weakness is. Identify it and say, this is a weakness. This is going to lead me in the wrong direction. My horse is going to stay stuck in the grass and I'm not going to be able to move along. I need to have strength. I need to be strong and I need to pull the reins in emotionally. I need to get my head out of this person. I need to get headed in a different direction. And yes, I use a lot of analogies. The erasing technique is very good. It's called mental scrambling. In other words, if you have an image of them in your eye, of you guys doing something, scramble it scramble it around, like taking, a razor and just scratching it out, like it on a record so it does not play anymore. Like a picture that's ripped and shredded into 1,000 pieces. This is a mental exercise known as scrambling. And it's very effective. You need to scramble and scramble and scramble until it does not exist in your mind again. I'm scrambling that image. I'm scrambling it. I'm shredding that image. I'm putting it through, a jackhammer. I'm putting it through whatever, a shredder. I'm using a box cutter and I'm that is known as scrambling. In his book by Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within, he talks about this, and I would highly recommend. It's a big, thick book. It's a heavy read, but that is a great book for people who are looking to grow. It's by Anthony Robbins, that super big, tall guy. He wrote a magnificent book called Awaken the Giant Within, and he talks about this technique to get your mind's eye sort of off of this because it's causing too much grief, and that's a very good technique. And also, knowing that you need to look at this in writing for yourself. You need to have an accurate and realistic picture. Take it from the idealized down to the degraded, and, use the understanding that if one of your friends or if one of your children or if one of your siblings or if one of your parents, someone who you really truly care about, if they were subjected to this, what would you recommend to them? Get the H out of there, dude. You deserve better. You don't need this in your life. That you need to, get that coaching. You need to have that internal conversation and share also your experiences with others. Here in the community, you can do that and, compare notes. You'll see that there's a lot of common threads that run through a lot of this sort of brainwashing that the female psychopath can do, the hyper arousal, the high risk, the late night dates or the early morning pictures or whatever it is that, crossed your boundary, crossed the line that you allowed. Begin to identify your boundaries and standards. I need this and I need that. Begin to identify truly what you want in a partner, a sibling, a parent, whoever this was, and begin to write down what I really need is. What I really need is. And you'll see oftentimes that a lot of it can be the polar opposite of what this person was doing to you. What I truly need is. And write it down, 1 through 20. This is your heart speaking. This is your subconscious. Do not censor it. Oh, I'm asking too much. Write it down. It's not going to hurt you to write it down. It's your internal voice speaking to you. And the recovery journal is a great way for you to get in touch with yourself. The recovery journal, just to recap, you need to have a big notebook. I don't have one sitting right here next to me. A Mead notebook, a big, thick spiral notebook, 5 subjects that you go to and you fill, longhand. I don't think you should type it. I think you should do this with your pen because there's an energetic connection that you feel and develop a relationship with an actual pen and paper. It's something you can feel. It warms up with your body as you work on it. You develop a relationship with that notebook. You can spill your guts, spill the beans, spill your heart. Clear your mind, drain your brain, get it all out. Get out all the toxicity that's now created a barrier that's causing you the ability to not heal. To heal is to be able to understand, accept, face, and move on, and to feel good about it and to be at peace. And then being able to move forward and knowing what you truly want, who truly deserves your attention, who is truly attractive and beautiful on the inside and outside, and is not deceptive, duplicitous, and has a nature which is, the public persona and then the reality. You need to get, from the inside out, you get the same thing. You don't, these players, the women are the best actors, and they really attack people's sense of manhood or womanhood. And so the recovery journal, writing out freehand, at least 3 pages. If you skip a line, then it would be 6 pages, so a total of 3. You need to get up every morning and just write this out. Peace and harmony. I don't know what to say. Then write down, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. If you write that 100 times, you're writing it out. Eventually, you will begin to say something. I hate this. I hate the work that I have to do. Okay, good. You just you just got to the bottom of things. This sucks. This is the worst. I lost this. I lost that. This person, this. Begin to just get it out because that is your feeling. That's all in there. So if you feel stuck, broken, unhealed, sad, stuck, it's because all this is bottled in there, and it's like you're just carrying it around like a big 16-ounce bottle of pop or a big 2-liter, that's about to explode because you keep shaking it up. And if you do the cap, it's just going to go all over you, So you can actually get control of that by engaging in this writing. If you don't have a pen, if you don't have any paper, then go to the store and purchase one today. Get a notebook, get a pen. You need to do this for a while, okay? To heal, you need to, I don't care if you're in your 50s and you're like, I don't do this. I don't care if you're in your 60s, I shouldn't be doing this right now. Well, if you need help, if this is a bothersome, then you need to do this. This is for you. This is your time. This is not for me. This is not for anybody else. This is for you. And this is going to work because you'll begin to get it out. You'll begin to feel better. You'll begin to have relief. You'll begin to say, wow, I never knew I felt this way. This is your subconscious mind. This is really energy in the quantum field where once you clear out that dark, negative, condensed, woeful feeling, you'll begin to get it out. You'll begin to break it up like a sledgehammer on concrete. Boom, 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 and then you can lift it out and you can say, aha, okay, good. I got that ugly staircase. I got that ugliness out of me. I can clear the way. I can put in a new staircase. It's just kind of like a work analogy where you kind of need to break it up. You need to kind of get through that shell, that depression, that hurt, and get, to what's really good, positive, has potential underneath. So once you break that apart, using our cement analogy, getting whatever it is, you get to hoist those big cement blocks, and then, but when you do this every day, you'll come in contact with something that is like, I'm through with this, I'm okay. You also need to write your lessons learned. And these are all discussed in the book that I'm working on. Lessons learned. Maybe you flip to another subject in your recovery journal, your notebook, and you write down lessons learned. Lessons learned. What did I learn? I made a mistake. I did this. To be truthful, this happened. What I really should have done was this. What are your lessons learned? These are extremely, extremely valuable information that you can garner from this exercise. I realize that the most precious possession I have is myself. I am the diamond. I am the gold. I am, the diamond in the rough. I am valuable. I am magnificent. I am worthy. I am loving. I want, and you'll begin to get into then your, what I call your astralmations, which are your affirmations, which is your I am. And then I am is really the very core of the foundation. If you talk to any coach of basketball, for example, they'll have the guys or the girls doing free shots after free shots, dribbling exercises. They're working on the basics. They are getting the foundation. Even if they're pro, they're working on their free shots, their free throws, or whatever it's called. Then they work on their three-pointers. They're working on their dribbling. I know how to dribble. Okay, we're going to still do this for half an hour. We're going to increase your dribbling ability. It can get better and better and better. That is your foundation. And what is the coach? He's well known. I can't think of his name right now, but he definitely espouses this. And I feel it's the same way with healing through a hurtful, a manipulative relationship with a toxic individual. You need to get to the I am. I am is your dribble. I am is your free throw. I am is what you need to practice when you're standing still, when you're driving, when you're brushing your teeth, you're making your spaghetti, you're walking to your car, you're walking to your house, you're going for a hike. I am. I am magnificent. I am worthy. I am inspired. I am good. I am safe. I am enforcing my boundaries. I am enforcing my standards. I am functional in the highest good. I am focused on the highest good and my highest potential. I am moving forward. These are the kind of astromations, and I call them astromations because they really do reach out into the quantum field, your subconscious mind, and the energy of the universe at large, which will respond to your energetic vibrations. Your thoughts are things. Your thoughts have the ability to draw forth to you those things which you need. So you need to reset that magnetic energy within you and resensitize yourself. There's a lot more we're going to need to wrap up here, but that is a good start if you want to really get that solid. Do yourself solid. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out. Love you.